There's a tremor running through our world, so quiet you almost can't feel it, but it's there, beneath the surface, beneath the noise, beneath the lies we've built out of attention and empty crowns. Today I'll be working on a drawing of a servo skull. If you know anything about Warhammer, this will be in praise of the Omnisire. And while I do that, let's chat about Oldhammer and how we are blaspheming the machine god. We are living in the age of too many masters, too many kings, too many people, born into a world that promised them importance without providing the kingdoms that importance requires. This is the phenomenon historians call elite overproduction, a flood of ambition, but with nowhere to go. The result is a civilization buckling under its own expectations, a population of would-be emperors scrambling for diminishing thrones, a world where being exceptional is the baseline requirement and being human is no longer enough. And that pressure, that crippling pressure of be more, be better, be perfect, is driving us further and further away from ourselves. Optimization is a disease. Somewhere along the way, we forgot something ancient. The pursuit of perfection is the death of imagination. Every culture, every art, every discipline goes through 3 stages: discovery, mastery, optimization. Discovery is chaos, it's alive, unpredictable and human. Mastery is order, disciplined, refined, powerful. Optimization is death, sterile, repetitive, performative. And we, right now, as a global culture, are trapped in the 3rd stage. We've become optimizers of ourselves. Every post, every image, every sentence carefully engineered to perform just enough to keep us visible in the machine. We are sculpting ourselves, smooth, predictable and readable. We fear relevance more than we fear death. We fear silence more than mediocrity. We fear being human more than becoming machine. Long before social media turned us into our own little algorithms, there was a warning. In the pages of old Warhammer books, a prophecy baked into the Adeptus Mechanicus. They feared the rise of AI. They feared the silica animus. They feared the soulless machine replacing the human spark. But look closely, real close. We have become the Mechanicum. We worship algorithms the way tech priests worship the machine god. We sacrifice creativity for consistency, spontaneity for stability, and mystery for metrics. We have become servo skulls, floating instruments of optimization disguised as individuals. Tell me, is there a more perfect metaphor for the modern human than a skull stripped of its face, wired into obedience, tasked with endless work in service of a system that no longer remembers why it was built? And here's where the philosophy lands its unexpected blow. Because deep in this age of frictionless perfection, there is an escape hatch, a reprieve, a rebellion, a reminder of the world before the machine took over. That's Oldhammer. What is Oldhammer? Well, it's before Warhammer became the polished, hyper-optimized corporate machine it is today. It was weird, raw, metal as hell, eccentric, and full of experimentation. Oldhammer refers to that era. Oldhammer is not nostalgia, it's evidence, a time capsule from the era before optimization, a relic of the middle age of creativity. Back then, sculptors were explorers, not manufacturers. Painters were amateurs in the sacred sense, that word meaning one who does a thing for love. Writers contradicted themselves. Artists didn't know the rules. Designers didn't know the shapes that would become iconic. They were figuring it out. And that phase is the most beautiful part of any craft's lifespan. Oldhammer feels alive because it was birthed before the elites arrived to deburr all the edges. Before the studios knew what the right style was. Before the meta was invented. Before perfection was even an option. Oldhammer is pure. It's human exploration. Uneven, chaotic, sincere and fun. It is everything the Mechanicum cannot be. It is everything social media chews on. And why do I feel such a hunger, such enjoyment when I lay my eyes upon the old gnarly ideas? It isn't that I dislike what we create now. How could I? So much of it is extraordinary. It's undeniable in craftsmanship and refinement. But everything we make today exists amongst the shadows of what came before. Somewhere, sometime, someone tried something wild, something untested, and it stuck. That origin point still echoes. I suppose I just miss the madness. That moment when a creator was searching for their own limitations, not piecing together a perfect outcome from the vast pile of greatness that already exists. Today it feels like so much of our work becomes an amalgamation of the optimum, carefully selected, precisely combined, yet stripped of the raw uncertainty that once made creation feel dangerous and alive. I chose to draw a servo skull because Firstly, I'm a fan of the Mechanicum. Secondly, because that servo skull used to be someone, a person, a life, a mind, until it was stripped of meaning and function became identity. We laugh, we treat it as a grim dark fiction, but the irony is razor thin. The servo skull is not a symbol of a distant future, it's a symbol of us, in the present. Stripped of mystery, stripped of unpolished humanity, stripped of the right to create without performance. The interesting point of contrast is, we don't have rules against AI. We are becoming it. There is something sacred in the imperfect, something holy in the incomplete. Mystery is oxygen to the human spirit. But perfection is carbon dioxide, slow, invisible poison that convinces you everything is fine while quietly suffocating your imagination. Modern Warhammer is flawless, and flawless things, beautiful as they are, demand nothing from your inner world. Old Hammer demands everything. It demands interpretation, patience, collaboration, and imagination. Its gaps are its gifts. Its flaws are the entry points where your mind slips in and becomes part of the creation. Modern perfection leaves no cracks for us to squeeze within. Old Hammer has a crack, and that crack allows you to breathe. As a quick side note, I still remember the last game I played, and the disappointment that settled over me once I went online, optimized my build, farmed every item, followed every recommended path. Eventually I reached a point where I was one-shotting a boss again and again just to roll for a tiny bonus. And then mid-grind I just kind of stopped. I felt redundant, empty. What was I even doing? The game was offering me zero resistance, no mystery, no discovery. I'd replaced the experience with a checklist, and in optimizing everything I had optimized the joy right out of the game. I never picked it up again. I swore I'd never do that to myself again. Never let the online complaint machine and the endless quest for the meta swallow the actual experience. Maybe that's the real lesson. We should leave some room to simply enjoy experiencing things, not perfect them, not pre-solve them, just be with them, without needing to chase the optimum every single time. But I'm not sure if we can. This is the secret horror of elite overproduction. Where there are too many masters, nobody is allowed to be a student. When there are too many experts, nobody is allowed to wander. When there are too many kings, nobody is allowed to build a village for the sheer joy of it. We have created a civilization where people are terrified to be seen learning, and where the desire to be seen means trading all our secrets for a few likes at a moment of attention. We are terrified to be seen trying, terrified to be seen as anything less than optimized, and so we mimic, we polish, we perform. And slowly, piece by piece, we become servo skulls in our own lives. Drifting, obedient, face stripped off, identity sacrificed, function replacing soul. And this is why Old Hammer is cool. Not because it's retro, not because it's ironic, but because it preserves something we are losing. The right to be unfinished, the right to be messy, the right to create without an audience, the right to be free in an age of machinery. Old Hammer whispers, it was better before the global leaderboard of social media told us exactly what works, and some guy was just drawing really big pauldrons and a gun with spikes on it. The moment right before people were correcting an artist on the amount of spikes that specific model of an imaginary gun had. And there's a reason I dig the servo skull. It's not just grim dark, not just aesthetic, not just a symbol, it's a mirror. It shows you what happens when a soul is consumed by optimization. It shows you what happens when a culture forgets the beauty of the middle stage. It shows you what happens when a world produces so many elites, too many experts, too many kings, and not enough mystery to sustain all of them. We feared the rise of AI, we feared the rise of machines, but the truth is simpler and darker. It's harder to swallow. We became the machines long before they will replace us. And that is why Old Hammer matters, because it reminds us of our potential to be human. And of course, I gotta show you some of this wicked Old Hammer stuff. Look at it, just look at it. It's bloody nice, isn't it? It's raw, it's crooked, it's fun. And honestly, I've been having a lot of fun with this piece. I stole a little bit of text from a Warhammer book, just grafted it straight on, because there's something about that old English script, that nefarious, cathedral, rusted, half-cursed look. And maybe even that is kind of a meta itself. But here's the thing that hit me while I was working. Do you remember the early 2000s, the late 90s, when people just put effort into imagining the future? We were building an aesthetic brick by brick, not perfect, not polished. It was wild. A chrome and wire guess at what tomorrow might look like. Remember product boxes, game title screens, DVD menus, tech ads, everything had sharp edges, stupid ambition, reckless novelty. And now everything's that millennial grey. Rounded corners, smooth surfaces, approved by committee. Optimised, sanitised, sanded down for mass consumption. I get it, it's fine. But God, it's no fun. There are people still trying to push that weird and wonderful, but you gotta dig for them in this ocean of perfection we scroll through every day. And I love art. I love looking at interesting things. But I open my phone and I'm hit by a flood of a million tiny curated displays of pristine brilliance. And somehow I'm both blown away and exhausted by it. And that's why discovering that Oldhammer page felt like a breath of fresh air I didn't know I needed. It was a wash of relief because Oldhammer is fun. It's a bit janky, a bit crooked, a little bit questionable, but it's alive. It feels like finishing an action movie as a kid and then wrestling your dad in the living room, or pretending a milk bottle was some kind of rocket launcher, making explosion noises with your mouth, imagining some insane world where things didn't have to make sense, where the rules were yours. Now even my imagination seems to have rules. But Oldhammer captured that feeling, that sense the world is still strange, still half unfinished, still open to interpretation. Not hyper-optimized, not solved, not meta. Just yours. And honestly, I don't know how all these pipes in my drawing work. I don't know what half these components do. Maybe they do nothing. Maybe they do everything. Maybe they're just there because they look cool. That's the point. Use your imagination. Have some fun with it. Not everything has to be perfect or justified, or law accurate, or optimized to hell. Sometimes it's just a gnarly skull with too many tubes, and that's enough. And anyway, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, thanks for letting me ramble while I glue all this weirdness together. And if you liked it, leave a like. And if you want to tag along for more, hit subscribe, and we'll chat again. Bye.